Hey, what's going on YouTube? We're back with another Borderlands video, and today we've got the Dahl Corporation versus the Torgue Corporation, and we're going to be talking about the precision, order, and pure size of one of the largest manufacturers in the games versus explosions? Yes. So we all know and love Mr. Torgue, but today's video will answer just how his company stacks up to the military precision of Dahl. And once again, we will not be faulting Torgue for hating laser weapons, and we will be discussing the corporation's strengths. So let's start off with the Dahl Corporation. So Dahl, often overlooked by other flashier weapons, tends to produce some solid but means business types of weapons. Dahl's most well-known products are the Anaconda revolver, which packs increased damage and increased accuracy. The Sandhawk SMG, which we all know is one of the best, if not the best SMG in Borderlands 2. The Bulldog shotgun with solid ammo capacity, quick reloads, and a higher fire rate. And then, of course, the Torrent SMG from the pre-sequel, which has increased damage, fire rate, ammo capacity, and increased hipfire accuracy, which is really good. I've just got to say, that weapon shreds. Dahl really is all about that accuracy, and if your Vault Hunter needs to hit shots, Dahl is the place to go. The company is really just no bullshit. Their guns work as intended, and they really don't stray too far from the traditional idea of military-esque firearms, which means Dahl is very reliable. Now, the corporation also utilizes the latest technology with laser guns and elemental technology that allows their guns to be useful against all enemy types. Now, we all know that Dahl features burst fire when ADSing, and we can see up to a 7-round burst, and due to the nature of the guns, you're gonna hit those shots. Weapons like the Hornet, the Gwen's Head, the Torrent, just to name a few, are extremely powerful weapons that are going to allow you to be accurate so that you can hit critical hits. And all of these weapons can utilize elements, which means you're gonna be able to use them in different scenarios and against different enemies, so the utility there is also going to be higher than somebody that's all about explosions. And outside of weapons, Dahl doesn't have any super notable products. I mean, their shields are booster shields, which are either below average to average, and the only thing I feel should be brought up is the Moonlight Saga Oz kit, because it's not really a top 5 Oz kit, but it's certainly in the top 10, which means it's certainly above average. So with that being said, let's jump over to the polar opposite now with Torgue. So Torgue is all about explosions, and very few enemy types in the series actually are resistant to explosive damage, which is great for the performance of the weapons. Now, Torgue weapons are generally slow firing, slow to reload, and they have slow projectile speed. A lot of what Torgue stands for is over the top and silly. Now, the company is best known for the double penetrating unkempt Herald pistol, the Cobra sniper rifle in Borderlands 1, the Nukem rocket launcher, and of course, the Sword Splosion shotgun, which I think best represents Torgue's motto. Now, the gun literally shoots exploding swords, and that's beautiful, and that is Torgue all the way. Now, Torgue has this attitude with their weapons that pretty much is completely different than the other manufacturers, and it doesn't always work out, but when it does, it's beautiful. Now, in Borderlands 1, their guns seem to be above average as a whole, but none of them are exceptional. I would argue that none of their legendaries in Borderlands 1 are a top 10 weapon in the game. Whereas in Borderlands 2, they've produced arguably the best weapon in the entire series in the Dupa. So that's a huge turnaround for the company. And outside of their guns, they don't produce all that much that is that great. Their grenade mods are so ridiculous and over the top, most of the time you're gonna kill yourself. The meteor shower literally spawns 10 to 12 child grenades, and it pretty much ends everything and everyone, including yourself, if you're inside. So for shields, their best offering would be the Deadly Bloom, in my opinion. And that was actually supposed to be a legendary in Borderlands 2, but a little mishap with the coding made it a purple. But with that being said, it works on some builds, it doesn't work on other builds. Not a bad shield, but definitely kind of something where if you're going for one thing, it works. If you're going for another thing, it doesn't really work. And to round it out, of course, we have the Ogre Assault Rifle, which really is difficult to get. It's a terrible farm, but if you can manage to get it, not a bad gun. Again, it's an assault rifle. Borderlands 2 is notorious with assault rifles being very weak, but the Ogre is something that I think is above average and is certainly one of the better assault rifles. So that brings me to the end. Who takes the cake for this head-to-head? And I will tell you this one is exceptionally tough because these companies are so different. And that's why it's fun to make a video like this and to challenge yourself, try to think rationally and logically about the whole scenario, all of Torgue, all of Dahl. And with that being said, I've got to give it to Dahl. I love Mr. Torgue. I love the idea of the company. I love the overtopness that they bring to the table. But you guys have to think, what does the company make besides the Dupa that is a must-have? I personally can't think of anything that is even close to that level of the Dupa. I can't. But Matt, what about Dahl? They don't make anything really besides, I would argue, the Sandhawk that's a must-have. Well, you've got a point there, but when you're comparing everything across the board, I think Dahl brings more to the table across more areas than what Torgue does in terms of something that is useful. In Borderlands 2, you see the likes of the Sandhawk, yes, the Hornet, which is great against loaders, the Teapot, which is something that's great to grab before the Wilhelm fight, and then of course the Lasco, which can bail you out in a pinch, especially in UVHM, because it's literally sitting in a puddle. Every single time you go back, you get a new one, and if you really are having that much of a challenge finding better guns, you can lean on that to carry you for a while. Now, the Dupa is also a super easy item to farm, but you know, you just can't have one gun above everything else and then say, okay, Torgue is better. This is really a video about the lot, and just because their likability is through the roof compared to Dahl and the Dupa is so well known, that doesn't mean Torgue takes the cake. So I'll leave you with this. The fact is, neither of these corporations are top 3, but it was certainly really fun to try and compare these two just due to their polar opposite ways of thinking. Torgue is over the top and all about explosions, and Dahl is about providing reliability in the traditional sense, and I think in this case, Dahl just outlasts the opponents. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you've got a different way of thinking and your opinion differs from mine, drop a comment down below, let me know what you think, and we'll discuss it. And then if you guys are into Borderlands, please consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Later.